Hey, Kyle here again, GoG's Guide. Our first video in the operator unit will be about arithmetic operators. And arithmetic operators, as I mentioned before, are used for mathematical operations such as addition, subtraction. I really hope you know these concepts because, as I mentioned at the beginning, you should have a basic understanding of arithmetic, right? And that's all you need for PHP, really, unless you want to dive into the more advanced stuff. To start off, let's look at the first one. Well, what are they? They're operators to perform math, as I already said. I'm way ahead of myself. Slow down, Kyle! And they deal with changing and contrasting data. And not so much contrasting, but just rather more of the changing part. And to start off, here's the first one, addition. You've probably seen this. The plus sign finds the sum of two values. And then look at that, subtraction. You just took one of the parts of the addition sign and cut it out there, and you got subtraction, finds the difference in two values. And you have multiplication. I'd like to emphasize this is a bit different than you may be familiar with. You might be thinking, why is there a star there, or an asterisk, I believe it's called. You're most likely used to using an X or a dot, perhaps. But in PHP and many programming languages, they use an asterisk just because the other symbols are reserved in most cases. And this finds the product of two values. Also, division is no longer that weird sign with the two circles and that stuff. It's already being used in arithmetic, actually. So this finds the quotient of two values. It divides two numbers. To remember, that's the symbol. And this is modulus. You're probably thinking, what the heck is this? Why is my division sign over here? And what's that, like, slash jacking my division sign area for? That's ridiculous. So this finds the remainder of two divided values. So it divides, and then it'll give you the remainder that's left over. For example, if you did 5 divided by 2, you'd be thinking, well, it's not going to give you a decimal because that's a different variable type. Remember when we discussed variables, there's floating point, there's different types of variables out there. There's decimals. However, if PHP you give two numbers that are not decimal numbers, you cannot get back a decimal very easily. And with proper math and programming, it won't be expecting that because it can't store a decimal point in a normal variable. So I hope this summarizes a couple things. We'll move on to the next one now. And I'll show a quick demonstration of just putting these to use. You can see transferring data from variables and adding, subtracting, multiplying, modularizing, and dividing, all of it. Alright, so as I said, I'm going to demonstrate how these arithmetic operators work. And to introduce you to the new unit, we're going to make a new folder to start off in your GOG PHP area. And the folder will be called operators. We're going to open that up, and our first file name will be arithmetic.php. Hopefully I spelled that right. .php, yep. And make sure you have your control panel running. This should all be back of your head. You should know about this now. And you're going to go to localhost, and also, little fact, throw this in. If you put 127.0.0.1, that's equivalent to typing localhost. Just thought I would let you guys know that because it's a cool little thing, and a lot of people crack jokes where they replace the word home with this snippet of code. It's going to be like, home sweet home, 127.0.0, and all your friends will think you're a total dork, right? So to start off, let's open up the arithmetic file, and already we're going to make our classic PHP tags and just being original as heck here. Make a variable called variable 1, original names, it's going to be 5, and variable 2 equals 3. Just keep the numbers small, why not? And then we're going to say echo variable 1 plus variable 2. Now, I would just like you to sit there and think what's going to happen. This is math, right? We're going to echo 8, whoop-de-doo, you just echoed out two numbers. Now we're going to try subtraction. You just change that operator there, your arithmetic operator, your friend, your best friend in PHP. You got 2, and let's see if we tried using modulus, because that one often comes across as a bit threatening to people, as its name. It sounds like an evil person in a game or an anime or something. I am Professor Modulus. But yeah, so apparently when you divide 5 and 3, you have 2 as a remainder. I'm not even sure. I don't know. My brain, it's 2 a.m. My brain's derped right now. If you did 5 divided by 3, would you even get 2 back? I would picture you're going to get no, you won't get a decimal. Maybe you will. 5 divided by 3, 1 point something would go into it 3 times. Maybe you will, okay? Let's assume PHP is right. which it probably is, keep in mind it rounds off. It doesn't give back a decimal. So this could be 2 point something you don't know about, and it's not accurate. So keep in mind to use floating point values, or doubles as they're called. If you're returning something that is a decimal point, you'll get a more accurate result, correct? And just for the record, we'll also try this sign, the asterisk, representing multiplication, because this is another threatening one. You get 15 back. So as you can see this, it works out just like that. I would like to acknowledge though, the previous unit with variables, there are limitations to the range you can have, correct? So if you were to put two whopping numbers here and try to multiply them together, high chance you're going to get an error. See, have you ever done this on a calculator where you get that E plus or whatever at the end? It's because you borked it and you put a number that's too high, it doesn't want to process. It's like, no. So yeah, you'll just have to find ways to work around that. I left the range of integer values in the last videos, so just keep this stuff in mind, and I strongly suggest you work around with these and try stuff out. Try putting the raw numbers, like echo 5 plus 5, and echo that out, or comment this line. Kyle's quote of the day, don't delete code, just comment. There you go, it's common among programmers. Try this, 10, same thing. You don't need brackets or quotes on numbers. It's not considered string data. Technically, it's numerical data, different. So yeah, just throwing out old points, trying to make sure you remember all this. See you in the next video. Yeah!